Welcome back to Superbly Said, our special segment focused on advanced English vocabulary and phrases. Today, we're diving into what is SpeakDuo lesson 1282.
And just before we jump in, if you're looking to actually practice these, you can go to SpeakDuo.com. It's a great place to meet people from all over the world, practice on video calls, and really, build your confidence.
It really is. Okay, so let's get right to it. We're looking at 8 idioms for advanced learners that can really elevate your communication.
And I like the framing for this. We're thinking of it as a kind of life cycle of a high-pressure situation.
Exactly. Starting with how you cope with stress. That brings us to our first one, which is comic relief.
Comic relief. Okay, so I have to ask right away, how is this any different from just telling a joke? If I tell a bad pun in a meeting, is that comic relief or am I just unprofessional?
That's a great question, and it's actually the critical distinction. A joke is just for entertainment. Comic relief is functional. Its purpose is to release tension. It's like a pressure valve.
So the relief part is actually the key, more so than the comic part.
Precisely. Think about a tense budget meeting. Everyone's stressed, numbers are down. Then someone makes a little self-deprecating comment, and everyone just kind of exhales for a second. That's comic relief. It resets the room.
I see. So how would that work in, say, an IELTS answer?
You might say something like, "The final presentation was incredibly tense, but my colleague offered some much-needed comic relief when his slideshow froze on a picture of his cat."
Right. It breaks the tension.
Yeah. But sometimes, the situation is much worse than a frozen slideshow.
It's actually dire.
Exactly. And that's when you get into darker territory. Our next phrase, gallows humor.
Gallows humor? Now, I've heard people use this in dark humor almost interchangeably. Are we just splitting hairs here, or is there a real difference?
Oh, there's a massive difference, and it all comes down to who is telling the joke. Dark humor is a style. You can laugh at taboo subjects from an outsider's perspective.
Okay.
But gallows humor is a coping mechanism. It comes from the people inside the bad situation. The name itself, it comes from the idea of a condemned man on the gallows making one last joke.
Wow. So it's about survival.
It is. You see it all the time with emergency room doctors, soldiers, people in incredibly high-stress jobs.
It kind of bonds them together against the situation.
That's it. Exactly. So, at work, you might say, the team is relying on a bit of gallows humor to get through these all-nighters. It signals things are tough, but you're managing.
And for an IELTS question about a stressful time?
You could say, during finals week, we survived on coffee and gallows humor, joking that we could all form a band if we failed.
Okay, so we've coped. Now it's time to take control. This brings us to flip the script.
Flip the script. Yes. Or sometimes you'll hear flip scripts.
This feels very active, but again, is this just a fancy way of saying changing your mind or pivoting? Everyone in business loves that word.
Right, but pivoting is just a change in direction. Flipping the script is a change in the power dynamic. It's all about subverting expectations. You're the underdog, you're the passive one, and then suddenly you seize control of the narrative.
Give me a work example.
Okay. Imagine a junior employee is just supposed to be taking notes in a big meeting. But instead, she stands up and presents a brilliant solution that no one else had thought of. She's just flipped the script. She's no longer just the note taker.
She changed her role in the story.
Exactly. For an IELTS answer, maybe about a challenge you overcame. Everyone expected me to just agree with the proposal, but I flipped the script and argued for my own idea, and they accepted it.
Very powerful. Now, another way to control things is through emotion, which brings us to tug at your heartstrings.
Yes, tug at your heartstrings. It means to evoke really deep feelings of sympathy or sadness.
But couldn't you just say something is touching or moving? Why the specific phrase? Tugging sounds almost aggressive.
That's the nuance. You've got it. Touching can be passive. An event is just touching. But tugging at heartstrings implies a deliberate, almost irresistible emotional pull. It's often used when talking about media or ads.
So it has a hint of manipulation to it.
It can, yeah. Think about those charity ads with the sad puppies and the slow piano music.
Oh, they definitely tug at the heartstrings.
Right? You wouldn't just say, that ad is sad. You'd say, their marketing campaign is designed specifically to tug at your heartstrings.
And describing a movie for an IELTS question?
I'm not usually one to cry, but the final scene of that film really tugged at my heartstrings. It describes that physical feeling of emotion.
Got it. Okay, so we've handled the stress, we've seized the narrative. Now we're at a turning point, a defining moment.
A defining moment. This isn't just a memory, it's an event that fundamentally shapes your future.
I feel like people misuse this one a lot. Like, oh, that delicious brunch was a defining moment.
Exactly. That just weakens the meaning. A true defining moment has a clear before and an after. If you're the same person after the event, it wasn't defining. It was just nice.
It has to have real consequences.
Massive ones. In a work context, the decision to leave my corporate job and start my own company was the defining moment of my career.
There's a clear before and after there.
Absolutely. For an IELTS answer about your life path, choosing to study abroad was a defining moment for me. It's when I realized I wanted to live internationally.
And sometimes these moments lead to huge success. That's when we struck gold.
Struck gold.
Okay, my skeptical question for this one, isn't this just another word for luck?
It involves luck, for sure. But the nuance here is about recognizing value. You didn't just get lucky. You found something incredibly valuable that other people might have missed. It implies a huge return.
So it's not just about like winning the lottery.
Not usually, no. In a business context, you might say, we struck gold when we hired Maria. Her skills have transformed the entire department. You found a valuable overlooked resource.
I see. It frames you as the smart one who discovered the gold.
Exactly. Socially, I really struck gold with this apartment. The location is perfect and the rent is unbelievably low.
I wish. Okay, but success and hard work create their own problems, right? Things get messy, which brings us to blur the lines.
Blur the lines. This is a big one today. It's when the distinction between two things, usually work and life, becomes unclear.
People talk about work-life integration, which sounds positive. Why does blurring the lines sound so negative?
Because integration can be intentional. Blurring the lines suggests a loss of necessary boundaries, and it's usually confusing or stressful.
You don't know where one thing ends and the other begins.
Exactly. With remote work, it's a constant battle. Answering work emails at 10 p.m. really blurs the lines between my personal time and my job.
And this can happen with professional relationships, too.
Critical feedback.
Which leads us perfectly to our last phrase. When things get complicated or heated, sometimes a boss has to just lay down the law.
Pull rank.
Pull rank. Yes, this is originally a military term.
So how is this different from a manager just making a decision? That's their job.
A good decision usually comes after weighing options and listening to the team. Pulling rank is a shutdown tactic. It's not about logic. It's about ending the debate with status. It's the because I said so of the corporate world.
So it almost always has a negative connotation.
Almost always, yeah. If you say my boss pulled rank, you are probably complaining.
Got it. What's an example? We had a great brainstorming session, but in the end, the director just pulled rank and went with his own idea anyway.
And outside of work.
Oh, parents are experts at this. I tried to argue my case, but my dad pulled rank and said, his house, his rules.
The ultimate conversation ender.
It really is. And speaking of ending things, let's pivot to a quiz to see if all these nuances have landed.
Let's do it. We have 8 questions for you. We'll read the question and 3 options, A, B, and C.
And please, feel free to pause the critique after each question to give yourself a moment to think.
All right, question 1. What is the primary function of comic relief in a tense situation? Is it A, to introduce a new character who will eventually become the antagonist? B, to confuse the audience by adding unrelated subplots to the story? Or C, to provide a humorous interlude that alleviates tension effectively?
Think about comic relief. What is its job?
Feel free to pause here if you need to think about the answer.
And the answer is option C, to provide a humorous interlude that alleviates tension effectively. Remember, it's that pressure valve in the boardroom.
Okay, question 2. Which situation best exemplifies the use of gallows humor? A. Making a lighthearted pun while celebrating a birthday party. B. Using grim irony to joke about a desperate or hopeless situation. Or C. Telling a slapstick joke to entertain children at a school event.
Gallows humor. Remember, who is telling the joke?
Pause now if you need a second.
The correct answer is option B. Using grim irony to joke about a desperate or hopeless situation. It's humor for survival, not for a party.
Question 3. What does it mean to flip the script in a negotiation? Is it A, to unexpectedly reverse the power dynamic or subvert expectations? B, to rewrite the official minutes of the meeting to correct errors? Or C, to repeat the same argument multiple times to ensure clarity?
Flip the script? It's all about power.
Take a moment.
The answer is option A, to unexpectedly reverse the power dynamic or subvert expectations. The underdog seizing control.
Excellent. On to question 4. If a movie is designed to tug at your heartstrings, what is its aim? A, to confuse the viewer with a complex and nonlinear plot structure. B, to induce a rush of adrenaline through fast-paced action sequences. Or C, to evoke deep feelings of sympathy, tenderness, or sadness.
Tug at your heartstrings. Think of that intentional emotional pull. And the answer is C, to evoke deep feelings of sympathy, tenderness, or sadness. Just like that charity ad we talked about.
Number 5. How would you characterize a defining moment in a person's career? A, a routine day where standard procedures are followed. B, an event that fundamentally shapes their future trajectory and identity. Or C, a brief period of rest taken between 2 difficult assignments.
A defining moment. Remember the before and after.
Feel free to pause and think it over.
The answer has to be B, an event that fundamentally shapes their future trajectory and identity. It's a point of no return.
Question 6. When someone says they struck gold with a new idea, what do they imply? A, they physically found a precious metal while digging. B, they encountered a significant obstacle that delayed their progress. Or C, they achieved sudden, often unexpected success or profitability.
Struck gold. It's about finding hidden value.
Pause if you need to.
The answer is C. They achieved sudden, often unexpected success or profitability. Like finding that superstar employee.
All right, just 2 more. Question 7. What happens when modern technology blurs the lines between work and home? Is it A, it makes the distinction between professional and personal time unclear? B, it creates a rigid schedule that separates office hours from leisure? Or C, it improves the visual quality of video calls made from a home office?
Blur the lines. Think about those boundaries disappearing.
Time to choose.
The answer is A. It makes the distinction between professional and personal time unclear. Those emails at 9 p.m. are the opposite of a rigid schedule.
Last one, question 8. If a manager decides to pull rank during a team dispute, what do? A, they organize a vote to let the majority decide the outcome. B, they use their superior authority to enforce a decision without debate. Or C, they resign from their position to allow a new leader to take over.
Pull rank. Think about status versus logic.
Last one, take a second.
The answer is B. They use their superior authority to enforce a decision without debate. It's the end of the discussion.
And that's the quiz. Hopefully you all struck gold with your answers.
I hope so. Mastering these idioms really does let you describe these complex professional dynamics with so much more precision.
It really does. So get out there and practice them. Maybe flip the script in your next meeting, and of course, check out SpeakDuo.
Thanks for listening to this critique.
We'll see you next time.